This is by far the best revenge story I have ever heard. Story time. So my aunt ended up going to her ex-boyfriend's wedding. So my aunt is the disappointment of my mum's side of the family. Like, even my parents tell me not to become like her. Even my grandma hates her. And you know what that means? She is the exact type of woman I want to be when I grow up. My aunt, who we'll call Amy, is in her mid-30s now, and she's got loads of tattoos, piercings. She's always got different coloured hair. She plays the drums and she works as a bartender. So here's the kicker. So last year, after a really bad mentee bee, I begged my dad to take me to my aunt's house. I just needed my cool aunt in my life. I had just dropped out of my final exam and I was in pretty bad condition, not gonna lie. And that is when Auntie Amy told me this story. So at the time, she was dating this guy who we will call Steve. And Steve was the one. She dreamt of spending her whole life with Steve. That was until she found out that Steve was getting a little bit cozy with Susan from accounts by the photocopier, if you know what I mean. Not judging at all, Steve. And if you thought that was scandalous enough, my aunt one day gets a knock at the door. Guess who it is? It's Susan from accounts. And dear Susan is here to deliver a wedding invitation. And do you know what? It was a bold move. I admire the bravery. And that wasn't the only news she was delivering, nay. She also dropped the bombshell that Susan was pregnant. Now, this is when Amy pulled the Uno reverse card. And my aunt excitedly turned around to Susan and said, "Oh, that's quite interesting actually, Susan, because Steve's infertile." So before they split up, Amy and Steve were trying to have a baby together and they were struggling, and then they ended up breaking up. But before they did, they went to see a doctor about why they were struggling to have a baby. And the result of this ended up getting posted to Auntie Amy's house after they broke up, and it turns out that Steve was infertile. And Steve never found out this information. Poor Steve is about to have 2 bombshells dropped on him. Okay, let's come forward in time again. Auntie Amy very cordially accepts the invite to the wedding, and she goes to speak to Steve's brother, who she was still quite close friends with, and she encourages him to play a part in her revenge. So at the wedding, there is a little section called Take a Walk Down Memory Lane. So it's basically just pictures of the couple from over the years. After a few cute pictures of the couple, a picture of Susan kissing another man pops up, then another, and then another. Just as the bride Susan starts losing her shit, up pops Steve's infertility test results. And boy, was everybody here for the drama. Steve obviously looked utterly humiliated, and Susan began bawling her eyes out. This is what you get for messing with a woman's true feelings. Okay, so a couple of you asked for my opinions on these stories. Now, although I think this is absolutely exceptional revenge, yes, Steve did cheat on her, could we not have revealed this at like a different time? I absolutely love the brother as well. Like, of course he wants to get involved in the drama. He must absolutely hate the bride for wanting to get involved in his own brother's demise. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. He will live to regret cheating on me. Story time. So I was with this boy for 2 years before he cheated on me at a party. He had gone to this party with all of his guy mates, and I decided to stay at home and study. I'd like to think that I'm quite a trusting, non-controlling type of girlfriend. So I have no issues with him going out with his boys. Thankfully, a girl in my class was at the same party that my boyfriend was at. And at like 1:30 in the morning, she sends me a video of my boyfriend dancing with this other girl. Then the video just progressively gets so much worse. He starts kissing her, and then she starts to lead him away. Bless, this girl was so apologetic. She kept apologising for not stepping in and stopping him. I just kept saying that this is his true colours coming out, so there was no way of stopping him. I was collecting receipts. The next morning rolls around and he comes over to my dorm. He's a little bit more lovey-dovey than he normally is. But I was not holding back. I confronted him about what had happened the night before. And I tried to give him the chance to tell me the truth. I tried hinting that, oh, but like my friend from class saw you there, like how was the night? And still, he gave me nothing, so I whipped out the big guns. And I have never seen anyone dive off the deep end with excuses quicker than this boy. He was saying, oh, it was just a mistake, I was drunk, I didn't do anything with her, I just kissed her. I was having absolutely none of it. So at that point, I took myself over to his dorm and I took back everything that I'd left there, everything he had given me. And whilst I was bagging up my stuff, he was begging me not to leave. So once I returned home, that is when I started planning my revenge. So he comes from a really religious family. So much so that relations before marriage is off the cards. Containing any sort of substance is a no-no. And he heavily relied on his parents to pay for his college and his spending money he needs. And he didn't have a job, so he was reliant on them for money. So I started to compile some pictures of my boyfriend together. There is pictures of him smoking with his friends, a video of us doing shots in New York, him chugging a beer whilst playing beer pong, and then for the grand finale I finished with the video of him cheating on me. I then sent a copy of this video to his parent, to his auntie, and then just about anyone else who held authority over him and his family. The results came in quick and they were immaculate. Literally that day he was pulled from university and he was forced back home under a state of house arrest. And he was only allowed to leave the house to go to his community college classes that he'd enrolled in. And he just completely lost the ability to have any form of fun whilst at college. I know this because one of his old guy mates actually angrily messaged me. He said how it was my fault that I ruined their plans to get an apartment next year. I mean, to this day, I have absolutely no regrets. It was so easy, he just should never have lied. And that is why cheaters should be shown absolutely no mercy. Am I the arsehole for telling my brother-in-law the truth about my sister? So I have a sister and we'll call her Amy. And I found out recently that her boyfriend Steve wants to propose. Me and my sister have always had such a close relationship. But there is just this one thing that I think people should know because it might change their opinion of her. Amy is a diagnosed sociopath. When we were younger, she started to showcase these disturbing behaviours. And after a little incident towards me, my parents decided to go get some help. Throughout all her time at school, she got in so much trouble. She'd be getting told off for lying, being cruel to other students. So as she grew up, she got a lot of therapy and now she is doing so well. She received an official diagnosis at 18, but we had all suspected it for so much longer. She's got a really good job now, amazing friends. She lives a really positive life. And oh my god, Amy gets male attention. Amy uses the dating guide like it's the bloody Bible. She just has this way of keeping people obsessed with her. So let's take it back to Steve. Her and Steve have been together for almost a year and a half now. And Steve is literally crazy about her. He is such a nice